I can see Victor and Rish. Okay. Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. So, hello to everybody joining on. We're going to be starting answering questions in a little bit. And if you have questions, just put them down in the comment section and we'll get through them. Hello. Hi, I see Rish Wade. Hello. Kayla's on. Awesome. Yeah, and we'll just give everyone a minute to get on before we start answering questions. But if you guys do have them, feel free to just start asking away. And we'll get going in just a minute. Okay, so I see we've got a lot of people in here. Awesome. That's great. All right. And we will be keeping track, my Western Region Council will be keeping track of the questions, so we make sure that everyone gets answered and where that's looking like. So if you guys start asking questions and there's a bunch of them coming through, we'll make sure that we get through all of them before this session's over. So yeah, feel free to just start asking any questions that you guys have. Typically FBLA related, but it doesn't have to be. Really any questions are always good. So yeah. Hello, hello. We've got 10 now. Awesome. Okay. Alright, so I'll do a little introduction of myself. I'm Trenton Tennant, your Western Region Vice President of FBLA. What's been the highlight of your experience? Awesome. Questions are starting to come through. So, yeah, I'm your Western Region Vice President, and I am very excited to be serving you guys. This is my first term as an officer, and sadly my last because I am a senior. But yeah, and I'm really excited to be answering you guys' questions and helping you guys along the process of FBLA, especially getting into your regional seasons for your regional conferences, and state conferences will be happening in about a month. So if you guys have questions, competitions related, or just public speaking or test taking, I'm ready to answer those as well. Or if it's questions on the March 1st deadline for a lot of the national programs that's coming up, more than happy to answer those as well. So I will start addressing the questions. What has been the highlight of your FBLA experience? The highlight of my FBLA experience thus far would definitely be the NFLC I attended, which was down in Albuquerque. The opportunity to meet so many of you guys as members and connect with you, as well as just representing you guys and hearing a lot of things you guys have been saying, and being able to tell you the progress that we've been making as national officers. That was fantastic, and to get that opportunity was one of my greatest highlights. And it's really inspiring to see all of you guys who are excited to see the progress that we've made on the national level. So that was huge. So the second question, what have you been up to FBLA wise? FBLA wise, on the national level, on our council level, we've been working on monthly newsletters. We've had 2 been published thus far, and we're going to be publishing our January one at the conclusion of this month. And we've been working really hard in developing a website that will allow you to streamline all of your Western...
It's free real estate.
Oh, golly. There we go. My volume was on. All of your FBLA specific questions can be, where you can find a lot of our newsletters or things like that. We've allowed access to the FBLA website to be really accessible and easy to find through our Western region website. So that's another thing we've been working on at the council level. And then on the national level, working towards social media and really making sure that we're keeping you guys up to date, especially through social media, because that's one of our biggest platforms throughout the year to connect with you all and keep you guys up to date on things like that. Getting more participation in national programs such as BAAs and CSAs has been a really big focus of ours. And lastly, just increasing membership as a whole and getting the FBLA experience out to as many people as we can. That's one of our biggest goals as a national officer team. So what is your favorite thing about FBLA? Quite honestly, it has to be the people. It has to be you guys as members, and the community that we have. That's got to be so amazing because we're growing these future leaders that are going to be going off into America and making something great happen. And that's just amazing. I've never met somebody in FBLA and wish I didn't meet them because they've all just been such inspiring people with an inspiring story or a passionate experience in FBLA. And everybody in FBLA has had the opportunity to grow from it. And there's just a lively passion. And that's my absolute favorite thing about FBLA. How was your experience at the Baltimore NLC? The Baltimore National Leadership Conference was the experience of a lifetime. One thing I can safely say as a candidate and now a national officer is you will never regret not running, you'll regret not running, you'll never regret running. And absolutely 110%, even if I didn't get the position, the experience of just running my campaign and talking to so many of you guys about my experience in FBLA, my views in FBLA, and the things that we can do from here, that was absolutely amazing. And then getting your guys' feedback on that was just so inspiring. And so Baltimore really gave me the opportunity to connect with more people than I ever have before. And so networking was absolutely amazing, as well as just being on stage and getting to see so many future leaders. That was absolutely amazing. So my experience at Baltimore NLC would be like 20 out of 10. 10, 100%, that's not enough. It's so much more. So Baltimore NLC was amazing, and I cannot wait for San Antonio. So that's going to be really, really awesome. I don't know if we've had any more questions, so if you guys have any more questions that you want to ask, I'm more than happy to get ready on that and start answering them. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, just put them down in the comment section, and to anyone else who is joined on, welcome. Yeah. Oh man. I see a couple more joining, which is awesome. Yeah, you guys can ask any questions. It doesn't have to be FBLA related. That's probably the topic I'm most well versed on, but I'm definitely a person as everyone else. I have a favorite book, a favorite hobby. I have things I can talk about as well that aren't just strictly FBLA. But yeah, feel free to ask away in the comments. Hey Chris. Nothing much. I'm just doing a live session, It's pretty neat. And then I see, what program is the national office working on right now? So the March 1st deadline has Connect 10. It has Membership Mania and Membership Madness, as well as BAAs and CSAs. So March 1st. Did I say March 10th? I meant March 1st. That's the deadline for all of those national programs. So we're not focusing specifically on one. We're trying to push them all because those are all big deadlines that we want to make sure you guys are hitting and not missing, because those are all important programs. The one thing about CSAs is that the achievement level, its deadline is April 25th, not March 1st, but for the community and service level. it is March 1st. And so we're trying to push all of those programs and making sure that you guys are up to date on those and keeping track of every national program that you guys are working on. Tips on running for office, states or nationals. So coming from Oregon, before running for national office, you have to run for executive vice president of Oregon. So I do have experience running on the state level as well as the national officer. So for the state level on running for office, the biggest tip I can give you for like when you're on site campaigning is eat, drink, and sleep. I didn't do any of those, and I definitely should have, because I could feel not doing those, and it was not a good time. Even at the state level, it's exhausting. And then on the national level, I actually fell asleep pretty much mid-order in Chick-fil-A, and that was wonderful. I fell asleep right when I was ordering and waiting for my food. And so making sure that you're staying hydrated, making sure you're eating enough, because the stress can prevent you from doing that, and then just getting sleep. It's a long week or so, a few days that you'll be campaigning, and that's really rough. As for getting ready for your campaign, and getting ready to run for state and national office, making sure that your views on FBLA are always directed on the collective views. So when I ran, I was really focused on when members can talk to me, because that's one thing I see a lack of, is when national officers or state officers don't get a chance to they don't get a chance to talk to the members as much as they'd like. So I wanted to give them, especially while I was campaigning, the opportunity to talk to members and talk to me, and that's really, really important, because I heard a lot of new outlooks on FBLA, new experiences on FBLA, and new ideas that, as I was campaigning, I heard those, and it kind of changed my direction a little bit, in where I really wanted to focus my attention on the national level. So definitely making sure that you're open to lots of opinions as you're developing your campaign is really, really important. Tips on campaign speech and campaign theme. As I had said before, in terms of campaign theme, my state campaign theme was not me, not I, but us. And so it was really focused on us as a state, and that I would be taking their voices and representing them on the national level with the position I was running for. For nationals, it was our voice and our future. And you'll hear that, I repeat that a lot, is our collective voice, our FBLA voice. And really it's just the energy that we have. So our voice and our energy leading up into our future, because we're the future leaders of America, and we're really going to be making a change as we exit high school. And so that was a big campaign theme for me, was just making sure that I collectively repeated our, especially on the state level, not me, not I, not just me. It's about us. It's about our. And so that's my tips on the campaign theme. And then for your campaign speech, I memorized my campaign speeches until I saw them when I closed my eyes. You cannot recite your campaign speech enough. And then when I was at our state conference, when I was campaigning on stage and I gave my speech, I actually forgot it in the middle because I was so nervous. So I forgot my speech and had to just kind of stand there and take a deep breath and collect myself. So making sure that, as well as being prepared by memorizing your speech as much as you possibly can, but being prepared for an impromptu moment when something goes wrong, as it did for me, and I kind of had to stand there and go, wow, this is really stressful, this sucks. And so that was pretty tough for me, and not being versed impromptu wise and being ready for that moment, that would be a tip I would give for a candidate in the future. How is life? Life is busy. Life is stressful. Life is crazy because I'm a senior, so applying to colleges and scholarships, as many as I can get of those, it's pretty crazy currently. But ultimately it's good because I'm serving as an FBLA officer, and life can't get better than that, right? What is one piece of advice you would give to future FBLA members that take my position? This is a great question. So, taking the position of Western Region Vice President, one piece of advice I would give is develop a calendar, and then personally, throughout the year, I developed a whiteboard. and I can keep track of everything much more thoroughly. So organization is really, really key in keeping track of meetings, keeping track of assignments, things you got to do. And you can have all these ideas, you can have all these initiatives that you're ready to put into action, but unless you have a calendar so you can really keep track of when, how you're going to do things, it becomes all a jumbled mess. And, the first couple months of my term, I was really struggling to keep a balanced schedule, and especially with school getting back in session, everything like that. It was really, really tough for me to stay focused. But as I got a calendar, as I got a planner, so now I have my every meeting scheduled out on 2 platforms, I'm able to stay much more focused. So that's one thing I would give as a piece of advice to a future member that's taking my position is make sure you're someone that's organized or someone that's prepared to be organized, because you're going to be busy and it's going to be hard to keep track. What does impact mean to you? So impact for me in a definition would be what I can give to you in terms of personal experience. So the wisdom that I can share to you guys, the wisdom I can share to someone I'm connecting with at a conference, that ultimately is a huge impact on you guys as members in terms of my experiences on a national level and serving as an officer, where I've kind of dedicated my life to FBLA. So to getting the opportunity to share that is what impact would mean. And when you guys take that personally and you do something in the future with that, that's when you really become impacted. And so that's what I believe impact would mean to me. So the next question is, what is one word you would use to describe FBLA as a whole? Blossom. FBLA is indescribable, really, because there's so many different personalities, so many different people, so many different opportunities in FBLA, and one word can't describe it, and a big series of words can't really describe FBLA as a whole, because there's some people who FBLA is all they got. They aren't an athlete, they don't fit in with a lot of different cliques at their school, but then they joined FBLA, and just like me, I mean, I really didn't fit in until I joined FBLA, and that's where I found a family, and that family just kept growing as I went to a conference, and I met and networked with so many more people, and I got to grow my family and grow it and grow it and grow it, and now my state and national officer teams are as much family as I can get. And so there's not really one word to describe FBLA. It's really indescribable, but Blossom is a good one because that's punny. And then just opportunity. FBLA is opportunity, and it's a chance for you guys to grow. And that's really kind of a good word to describe it. So the next question is, view on membership decrease trend across all CTSO organizations. That is a wonderful question. So there has been a pretty substantial decrease across all CTSO organizations, and a lot of it comes from the rise of STEM organizations. So as these other STEM organizations kind of rise up, teachers are focusing their attention towards those and less towards business and CTSO organizations, which ultimately I don't believe is fair, because if you're focusing so much more on the things that school is providing, FBLA teaches you business skills that you may never learn. FBLA teaches you so many opportunities to become a leader and what it's like to be in the real world, and even things down to doing your taxes. I mean, it can teach you so much, and if you're not focusing your attention holistically on CTSO organizations as well as STEM programs, you're really not giving the students a fair chance, and I don't believe that is fair. And so I want to see a big rise in CTSO organizations, and I want to see a lot of teachers and advisors focusing their attentions on growing CTSO organizations, because it's truly important. And as well as CTSO organizations going down, that's not entirely true, because a lot of CTSO organizations are making their rise. Like DECA has made a pretty substantial rise as well. but FBLA has taken quite a bit of a hit, especially, in the Western region with the rise of DECA. We've been kind of battling their numbers, or at least starting to battle their numbers. And so that's another thing where we want to address that, to give as many kids the opportunities that FBLA has to offer as possible. And so that is something I want future officer teams to really focus on and take initiative of. So then views. Oh, no, I answered that one. So do you ever sleep is a great question. No, I've started to sleep a little bit as the mid-year of my term has hit in these winter seasons, but safe to say that the 3 months leading up to my national officer campaign and the 4 or 5 months after it, I did not sleep. No, I stayed up until at least 1 o'clock every night minimum, working on FBLA or working on different initiatives and different things I can do. And so sleep is something that I'm deprived of, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. So the next question is, how has your experience been working with the National Officer team? I had only served as a state officer leading up to my campaign that 1 year, or that one term. And so I only had a couple months to kind of grow with my state officer team, and then I had another officer team to get it, to click with. And so I really wasn't sure what to expect when arriving at National Officer Training, when we were there to work the first time and as a whole. But man, did we click. And it was such an experience. I mean, Garrett Koch, the Eastern Region VP, he broke the ice as we were first having dinner. And he was just like, how was everyone's flight? And he's a super, super funny guy. And so that from that moment on, we all just kind of really comfortable with each other, and it made working much, much easier when we feel more comfortable as an officer team to share different opinions on some things. And so ultimately, because we're really comfortable with each other and because we've clicked so much as a team, it's allowed us to work really, really hard and make a lot of really cool things happen. So my experience working with the National Officer team has been truly amazing. I mean, really, really amazing. What's the most obvious change you see through your experience in FBLA? So the most obvious change is definitely a positive one. The attention to social media in the past 4 years of my FBLA experience has been substantial. And obviously our social media doesn't reach every member, but that's definitely the goal, and that's something we're working towards. And it has exponentially grown in the past, few years. Now we're able to get information much, much easier through social media. And that is a huge change for the better, especially in how we address social media. And so, when you go into Instagram, that's typically when I'm posting for Instagram. That's the market to hit all of you members and to give you guys direct information. Whereas if I'm going to Facebook, I'm going to hit a lot of advisors and parents of the members. And then Twitter is a lot for those business and legislative offices. And so we've now kind of directed our social media into addressing our posts to the right audience, and that has allowed us to make our message much more impactful on those who are viewing our message. And that is a huge change, but a substantial one. And with the development of, an FBLA app and, boosting our website and growing different things in FBLA, we're going to get more opportunity to reach more of you members. What's your number one tip for winning in a competitive event? So as a freshman, I gave my first ever speech in front of an audience, and it was at the State Business Leadership Conference. And I ended up becoming a state champion, and because I believe that because I spent months and months prior to giving that speech, every single night I found an audience, whether that was a class at school or a few of my friends or my parents. I began going to Toastmasters. I began, going to many, many different people to give my speech in front of. And so that's a huge tip that I would give, is find an audience. Find someone that's ready to listen, and find someone who's ready to critique. And a lot of times, my mom, she won't really criticize me, as much as I probably should be, oh, you did perfect. You did perfect. And I hear that a lot. You did perfect. But I know I didn't do perfect. So my dad would be the one that would, you could change this. You could do this better. And that's what really helped me, is finding a constructive criticizing audience that was listening to me, so I could get comfortable in my skin and get comfortable with my speech, and then get critiques on it. And so, ultimately winning a competitive event is a very huge honor, and the way that I believe doing that just comes from people who are as prepared as can be. So we've only got a few more minutes on the live stream, and so if you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to ask away. And thank you all for being here. And oh, there is two more. So how did you prep for your national officer campaign? Oh man, lots of time. I spent at minimum 3 to 4 hours every single day developing my national officer campaign. So I really didn't sleep, but that gave me the opportunity to really fine-tune every bit of my campaign, and then prepare for any question that could kind of come my way, and prepare for what I was about to do, which was go out and prove to you guys that I could represent you on a national level. So preparing for that would just be developing the time to know my campaign as thoroughly as can be. And the one thing I kept in my head was, I don't want to get to, voting day and think there's something more I could have done. There's something more I could have done to win. And so I didn't want that mentality. And so I kept that mantra of, don't say that to yourself when voting day comes. And so that kind of kept me going when preparing my national officer campaign. How do you get your members to be more responsive to social media initiatives? So really, when trying to get, members to want to be part of social media, is making them engaging parts of social media. So videos are very engaging because you stop and you see the message, and then you hear the message. Or posts where you can interact with the post, even if it's like, what's one thing you're most excited about for your regional, conference, or what's one thing you've done to prepare for your competition. And then they start commenting in it, and they start sharing their experience, and that's when members start interacting with the post, and that's when social media is hitting full blast of what's most effective. And so that's really one good way, is just making sure that you're directing posts to become more interactive and exciting when people are using social media. And then the last question before we'll wrap this up is, how has FBLA shaped your future career? So FBLA has made me extremely prepared to kind of handle anything that's going to come my way. And it's made me a more confident person and excited about the future, and confident that no matter where I go, whether it's into maybe law or politics, or if I own a business, or if I became a doctor, whatever it is I choose to do with my future, FBLA has prepared me to be confident in my abilities, be confident in what I can do, be confident that if I don't know something, I'll figure out the answer, and I will find a way to learn it. I'll find a way to adapt to the situation, as well as just being professional. FBLA has made me very professional, and before, I probably would have shown up to an interview in maybe a polo if I was feeling really snazzy. Maybe if I was feeling top notch, I'd wear a polo. But now I know that presentation of yourself and presentation of your confidence and your stature, everything about you comes across in a job interview. And those are now skills that I have, that every single one of them FBLA gave me. And so FBLA has shaped me as an individual, and FBLA has shaped me really to be excited for the future. So we are going to be doing this live session again tomorrow at the same time, 6:30 to 7 Pacific Standard Time. Same platform. It'll be right here at Tenet_FBLA. So make sure you guys, if you have any more questions or questions that you want to ask but didn't get the chance to, make sure you go ahead and log on then and then ask, and as well as share the word. And so there's the other posts that you can use on my social media and really get the word out about these live streams for any other members that may have questions. I'm really ready to answer all of them. And then we're going to be going again on Thursday from 6:30 to 7 as well. Tomorrow, it's possible that I'll be in a car. We'll see. I had a last minute thing come up, but I will make sure that I'm on it at 6:30 right away. So make sure you be there. And thank you all for your wonderful questions. I'm really excited to be representing you guys this year. So it's really inspiring to see you all who are so invested in FBLA. So anyway, thank you all for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.